Hi everyone, Kate here for another Victober video, and I want to recommend some dark academia Victober reads to you. Dark academia is this sort of aesthetic that is trending right now, and basically some of the aspects of it is the aesthetic of higher education. Just the lifelong love of learning, but also pursuing your education is really a big theme in dark academia. Also, Gothic architecture, candlelight, dark wooden furniture, autumnal and winter weather, and just in general, things from that sort of more cozy time of year. If you want to know more about dark academia, I recommend you looking up, doing your own research about it, because it is a bit hard for me to totally explain it. But just this insatiable desire to live life to the fullest and to learn everything that you can. And the first book that I want to recommend, that is actually, it's not one that I totally adore, but it is one that is loved by many, and it is extremely dark academia approved, and that is The Hound of the Baskervilles. Any Sherlock Holmes book is going to be included in here. And so there is this crazy mystery that is happening where there is this hound haunting the moors, and Sherlock Holmes and his trusty sidekick Watson go to investigate exactly what is happening. The next one, and this is a quintessential kind of dark academia book, and that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This involves mysterious houses, and there is such an, or rather a mysterious house that Jane Eyre comes to when she becomes a governess, and there is a lot of unanswered questions. There is so much atmosphere in this, and you get so drawn in. It's written in first person, and I find it's just such a wonderful beginner's classic. It is so accessible, and it's just lauded for such a good reason. It's such a wonderful book, and also really lovely in audiobook format. And the next one is Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights has really the natural kind of Gothic aesthetic in the natural world, this sparse landscape with the moors, and it does start out very mysterious, where someone arrives at this house and he has no idea what to make of what is happening where he is. This is definitely a love it or hate it kind of book. I've heard only one or two so-so reviews of it, and I fall into the love it camp. The next one that is definitely seeing people in a lot of mortal peril, and that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is definitely not known for its modern views of gender roles, so it's going to be feel very old-fashioned in how the women are treated like these delicate flowers. But if you can just set that aside and enjoy this really suspenseful story. I was on the edge of my seat as I was reading it. I had no idea how it was going to end, what was going to happen to the characters, and it was just a wild ride that I loved every second of. The next book on the list is Grania. If you want that really intense otherworldly feel, and you're following the character of Grania in this really isolated, desolate landscape, and the writing is so beautiful and evocative, and it is such a short book, so it's such a gem of a book because it packs such a punch in so few pages, and I'm devastated Emily Lawless did not write any more books. She wrote a couple others, but they're very hard to get track of, and they aren't even, I think, on Project Gutenberg. So hopefully eventually they would be. The next one on the list is Romola. So I talked about the aesthetics of higher education. This is a historical fiction set in Florence, Italy during the Medici era, Renaissance Florence. And there is such a love of learning and a love of literature in this. It's also a really interesting time within church history. Savonarola is a huge part of this plot. The character of Romola, I think a lot of people who love this concept of living life to the fullest would really, really adore. I loved the character of Romola. Several pieces in this book moved me to tears. It's just beautifully written. It is dense. It is going to be really slow going in some parts, but I think that people who are willing to give it the time that it deserves will get a lot of reward. I can still picture it so vividly after reading it almost 2 years ago now. And the next one on the list, I have 3 by Mary Elizabeth Braddon. She is definitely dark academia approved. The first is Aurora Floyd, and this one is so lovely because it's like 3 books for the price of one with the different vibes and aesthetics that you have. It starts out as one thing and then evolves into another kind of style of book and then eventually evolves into a whole other style. And I was on the edge of my seat. I had no idea how it was going to end. The sense of atmosphere that Mary Elizabeth Braddon puts into her books is wonderful. This one is has a bit less atmosphere and it more focuses on the inner thoughts of our main characters. Isabel? Let's see, Isabel, yes. But what makes this fun for, I think, for dark academia lovers is just the love of literature that is in here. You see a character who is a sensation novelist within this sensation novel, and it makes fun of itself. Also, this is her rewriting of Madame Bovary, which I think is fascinating. And then lastly, maybe her most iconic work, and that is Lady Audley's Secret. This is so full of atmosphere and it is so tense. You want to know what is going to happen next. There are so many chapters. I was just flipping so quickly because I couldn't wait to find out what was going to happen next. And the next one, this is just so full of slow, ominous tension that is built slowly but steadily throughout the course of the book, and that is The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. It starts out when Walter Hartright is traveling to a new job where he will be teaching 2 young ladies how to paint, and he finds this woman wandering around in the middle of nowhere in a nightgown. And she wanders away, they have this really stilted conversation, and then she disappears, and then a horse and carriage comes and a man says, "Have you seen a woman wandering around?" And he says, "Why?" And they tell him that someone broke out of the nearby asylum, and it kicks off this big turn of events. It looks long. If you like the writing style, read the first couple chapters, and it will not feel long if you like the writing style. So excellent. And I love the bond between the 2 sisters, Marian and Laura. Marian Halcombe is one of my favorite characters ever. And then we move on to The Moonstone, another Wilkie Collins, and this one is fun because it is a whodunit, or who stole it. The Moonstone has been taken. And the whole course of the book is different people narrating their account of the events that happened at Rachel Verander's birthday party. And you have to see who ended up with the Moonstone. The next one is A Welsh Witch. This one is another one, otherworldly, really atmospheric kind of feel to it. And it's set in this little sleepy Welsh town with secrets happening. The character Catrin, the main character, is rumored to be a witch in the town. So she's kind of this scapegoat, and you get to know Catrin slowly and see if the town is right about her or not. And then The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. I loved the atmosphere and the ominous feel to the story. And I love this kind of deal with the devil that Dorian Gray makes, where he will keep his youth and a portrait that has been painted of him will age and he will get to stay young. And it's just got the coolest ending and it gave me chills. Such a great book. And then Sylvia's Lovers, another one with the seaside, sparse, otherworldly, fantastical atmosphere. And it starts out so everyday, where Sylvia is traveling into town. She's walking into town and is deciding whether she's going to get a gray cloak or a red cloak. But this is a whirlwind of events. And just if you want to feel all the deep feelings, this is a great book to read. It is very, very sad. So buckle up for an emotional ride if you're going to read this. And lastly is Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. This begins when Pip is, this little boy is in a graveyard by a church, and this convict appears out of nowhere and demands that he go get some food and bring it back to him, and if he doesn't, he's going to come to his house and kill him. So what a dramatic beginning. But the atmosphere in this book also, he gets to visit Miss Havisham at some point, such an iconic character, and her home that has been frozen in time, and Estella, who is one of Dickens' most fascinating female characters. I love this book, and it is a shorter book. It is around 500 pages, is under 500 pages, so a shorter Dickens. And I love seeing the journey that Pip goes on, but it has some really twisty-turny events that I would not have predicted in a million years the first time I was reading it. Those are my dark academia recommendations. Let me know if you have not read any of those and I have talked you into reading some of them. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll be back with another video soon. Bye.